Hello, this is Gina Piscatelli, presenting my capstone project for the Online Consortium Mastery Series course. And my capstone project is on one particular lab that we do that I do anyway at the beginning of our anatomy and physiology course, and it's called Orientation to Human Anatomy. And since this course, and it will also be the first biology class for many of the students enrolled, I'm going to create a video that focuses on where they can get their lab manual, where there are lab resources for them to study, which will probably be posted mostly on Blackboard, what are the proper procedures for an online class in terms of how to contact other students, how to post things, how to contact me, how to take exams, how to get on discussion groups. Then the expectations for the course, and finally what they really want to know. What are the tests? What are the grading policies? How many points are in the course? All that kind of stuff. So they'll get a first welcome to anatomy and physiology lab video. After that, they'll get to actually start this lab, which is orienting them to how we study human anatomy. And so there's 3 learning objectives for this lab, and it's kind of soft, familiarizing them and introducing them to a lot of terminology. However, you know, the lists of things that they need to know is quite extensive. So first we'll familiarize them with the language of anatomy, which includes anatomical position, the standard position of the body, regional terms, and directional terms. Another learning objective is to be familiar with the planes of section that we often use to view internal structures in the human body, organ systems. And then the third learning objective will introduce students to these internal cavities that the body has and the membranes that line the cavities. So the required materials for them to complete this lab is they have to have a lab manual. The lab manual can either be purchased at the bookstore as a printed copy, or they'll be able to download it or read it online, because I'll put a PDF on the Blackboard site. They'll have to have access to the internet Blackboard, and one other thing I'm going to have them purchase is access to Pearson's Mastering Anatomy and Physiology for post-lab assignments. For this particular lab, they're going to need 2 apples, 1 banana that's kind of green, a kitchen utility knife, maybe a cutting board, and a black marker is optional if they'd like to draw a face on some fruit. So I'll go ahead and finish this here. So the procedures and the activities that the students are going to do to achieve those learning objectives is, the first thing they're going to do is watch a video that I found that's pretty good in introducing some of this terminology and mainly the importance of it. So this is to foster engagement. So they'll watch a video, and this is student content interaction. Then the next thing they'll do is read their lab manual, hopefully. And the topics, I've already told you what they are, but these pictures are just, these pictures are just, you know, the lab manual, copies from the lab manual pages. So again, this is student content interaction. Then the third thing that they're going to do is practice using this terminology and viewing the body in sections. I also want them to come up with the muddiest point, because the way they're going to practice is they're going to answer some questions that they'll find in the lab manual here. Here's some more questions. Again, they're working on their own. However, there's going to be a discussion board open for each of these subtopics within the lab, and I want them to post what their muddiest point is. So they'll do that. And then the fourth thing that they're going to do, again independently, they haven't actually spoken with me yet, but they've spoken to each other, is that they're going to do an activity where they section fruit. And there's instructions in the lab manual for how to do it. And here's what the black marker is for if they want to draw a face on a banana. So they're going to draw an outline of what they see when they do these different sections, and hopefully it looks something like that. But anyway, I want them to take a picture and post it in the discussion board on Blackboard, or discussion group on Blackboard. And if they have any questions, then they can also post on that thread as well. And I want them to reply to the posts of 2 other students at least. Finally, the fifth procedure or activity is that they're going to get to talk to me, because I'm going to hold a synchronous lab session every week. So in this live session, I'll be using Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, and the first thing I will do is give a quick synopsis of what they did in the lab, the topics that were covered, and then address the muddiest points that I read on the discussion board, answer any questions that came up, or they can ask them live, any questions regarding the lab manual exercises, and anything about the sectioning activity. And then I'm going to review some highlights. So this is their opportunity to make sure they covered everything they needed to do. So this is the primary student-instructor interaction activity. And then last but not least, they're going to get to practice again with a formative assessment, hopefully after they've got all their questions answered. And this is a graded assessment. So far I didn't grade anything. Those were just practicing exercises. So this is going to be through Mastering, Pearson's Mastering. I could do it through Blackboard as well, but I think I'm going to do Mastering. They'll be given 2 attempts. Each attempt there'll be a time limit, and I'll count their highest score. They can get a maximum of 15 points. So it's like a post lab worth 15 points. The nice thing about Mastering is they get immediate feedback. If I use Blackboard, they kind of get immediate feedback, but it's not as explanatory. And then finally, at the end of a lab unit, they will have a summative assessment, which will be timed, and that one will be on Blackboard, which it won't be that different than what they've done before. So that's my plan. We'll see how it goes. Thanks for listening.